Now, Tucker Carlson has released some of the footage of the many thousands of hours of footage he has. And this is the footage of the police basically giving this horned shaman, they're so-called, a tour of the Capitol building as they're escorting him, not even trying to arrest him. So isn't their job to uphold the law? And if he's breaking the law, then I think he should be in cuffs by now. As you're going to see, he actually walks by about 9 different officers right through the middle of them. All these police officers right here. And he just walks on by with no consequences. Here you go. Let's go in here and let's get you in a place to where we can get video footage of you without us police officers being around. So this is just very suspicious as you see them actually opening the doors for the guy. And then it shows him saying a prayer.
Every moment of his time inside the Capitol was caught on tape. The tapes show that Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides. Here's video of Chansley in the Senate chamber. Capitol Police officers take him to multiple entrances and even try to open locked doors for him. We counted at least 9 officers who were within touching distance of unarmed Jacob Chansley. Not one of them even tried to slow him down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us into this building.
And for that, of course, they call him the QAnon shaman. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison for being escorted through the Capitol by the police. Now let's listen to how CNN reported this QAnon shaman.
Tonight, new video has been released in the case against the so-called QAnon shaman as he faces charges for his role in the Capitol insurrection. CNN's Brian Todd is covering all the angles for us. Brian, tell us more about these videos and why they were made public.
They were made public, Wolf, because the judge is frankly fed up. Tonight, one of the most visible rioters on January 6th seems to have gotten squarely on the bad side of the judge in his case.
We won the day.
Tonight, Jacob Chansley, the so-called QAnon shaman who wore a headdress and face paint and carried a spear inside the Capitol, has been called out by U.S. District Judge Royce Lamberth. The court today releasing 2 videos, which the judge believes back his assertion in court papers that Chansley, quote, blatantly lied during an interview with 60 Minutes Plus. This is what Judge Lamberth believes was a lie.
Police were waving people into the building.
Judge Lamberth believes this video, showing rioters breaking windows, then panning over to a shot of Chansley walking through a door, shows Chansley was lying when he claimed police waved him in.
And that shows you that this defendant, Jacob Chansley, has really angered this judge and has really compromised his own credibility in the mind of the judge.
Judge Lamberth had already accused Chansley and his attorney of doing that 60 Minutes Plus interview without the court's permission. Chansley's lawyer claimed they were not trying to be deceitful. Chansley has pleaded not guilty to 6 charges, including violent entry and disorderly conduct in the Capitol attack. Judge Lamberth recently ruled that Chansley is too dangerous to release and has to stay in jail pending his trial.
And by now, you all know how selective editing can help sell the lie for what it is. As we play here, watch the police officer walking directly behind him. They'll cut away from it as soon as you start to see the police officer. Let's go back to that a little bit because it was real quick. Okay, and there he is right there. There's the police officer walking right behind him.
And has to stay in jail pending his trial.
It's only a matter of time. Justice is coming.
One analyst says even though Chansley's not accused of violent behavior against others, his high profile as a symbol of the riot puts added pressure on prosecutors.
The prosecutors have to understand that the public is watching every move they make in this case. And so the notoriety of certain defendants is something they have to take into consideration, and they better make darn sure that they have charged these people appropriately and that they come away with convictions, including on Jacob Chansley.
This comes as the Washington Post reports that the U.S. Army, in the days just ahead of January 6th, pushed to deny the D.C. government's request for a National Guard deployment on the 6th.
And then there, of course, is Ray Epps, who, after public pressure, the January 6th committee brought him in to give his take in regards to what transpired on January 6th, where he was encouraging people to go into the Capitol building, even though he did not go into the Capitol building himself. But also, Tucker Carlson releases video showing that he also lied to the January 6th committee in regards to other certain things that transpired that day.
Under public pressure, the January 6th committee finally interviewed Ray Epps. Epps told the committee that he never entered the Capitol and therefore never committed a crime. His text messages showed that at 2:12 p.m., he boasted to his nephew that he had, quote, orchestrated the protests at the Capitol. Epps testified that when he sent the text messages to his nephew, he had already left the Capitol grounds to return to his hotel room. That is not true. The surveillance footage we found shows that, in fact, Ray Epps remained at the Capitol for at least another half an hour. You're seeing that on your screen now. What was Epps doing there? We can't say, but we do know that he lied to investigators.
Mr. Epps was in front of the January 6th committee, and we were told that a transcript of his interview would be released, but it's never been released.
You guys are trying to make this poor schmuck who showed up to your protest into something a lot bigger than he is. Okay, he's just trying to survive, and he's on your side. You don't have many voters left. You might want to try to hang on to them without demonizing and vilifying your own people. Have you guys ever read the book by Mary Trump about the way that Donald Trump has absolutely destroyed their family, wrecked her father's life? They do it to family, they do it to friends, they do it to their own associates and employees, and now you guys are doing it to this poor Ray Epps. Leave that guy alone, whoever he is.
On May 7th, 2021, Jill Sanborn named Executive Assistant Director of the National Security Branch of the FBI. And here she is taking questions from Senator Ted Cruz in regards to the FBI's involvement in what went down on January 6th, 2021.
I want to turn to the FBI. How many FBI agents or confidential informants actively participated in the events of January 6th?
Sir, I'm sure you can appreciate that I can't go into the specifics of sources and methods.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants actively participate in the events of January 6th? Yes or no?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Did any FBI agents or confidential informants commit crimes of violence on January 6th?
I can't answer that, sir.
Did any FBI agents or FBI informants actively encourage and incite crimes of violence on January 6th?
Sir, I can't answer that.
Ms. Sadburn, who is Ray Epps?
I'm aware of the individual, sir. I don't have the specific background to him.
Well, there are a lot of people who are understandably very concerned about Mr. Epps. On the night of January 5th, 2021, Epps wandered around the crowd that had gathered, and there's video out there of him chanting, "Tomorrow, we need to get into the Capitol, into the Capitol." This was strange behavior, so strange that the crowd began chanting, "Fed, Fed, 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 Fed." Ms. Sanborn, was Ray Epps a Fed?
Sir, I cannot answer that question.
The next day, on January 6th, Mr. Epps is seen whispering to a person, and 5 seconds later, 5 seconds after he's whispering to a person, that same person begins to forcibly tear down the barricades. Did Mr. Epps urge them to tear down the barricades?
Sir, similar to the other answers, I cannot answer that.
Shortly thereafter, the FBI put out a public post seeking information on individuals connected with violent crimes on January 6th. Among those individuals, in the bottom there, is Mr. Epps. The FBI publicly asked for information, offering cash rewards for information leading to the arrest. This was posted, and then, sometime later, magically, Mr. Epps disappeared from the public posting. According to public records, Mr. Epps has not been charged with anything. No one's explained why a person videoed urging people to go to the Capitol, a person whose conduct was so suspect the crowd believed he was a Fed, would magically disappear from the list of people the FBI was looking at. Ms. Sandburn, a lot of Americans are concerned that the federal government deliberately encouraged illegal and violent conduct on January 6th. My question to you, and this is not an ordinary law enforcement question, this is a question of public accountability. Did federal agents or those in service of federal agent actively encourage violent and criminal conduct on January 6th?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
Now, Tucker Carlson has a whole lot more footage that he'll be releasing over the next days and weeks, probably. He's got like 50,000 hours of video footage of what happened on January 6th, 2021. And this, I wanted to close out with this. Frank Figliuzzi torches Tucker Carlson's FBI false flag lie. So it'll be interesting if Tucker Carlson vindicates himself from this video I'm about ready to play. And this video was put up on June 19th, 2021. And they're going to show you a segment of what Tucker Carlson said. And then Frank Figliuzzi is going to come out and tell you how crazy Tucker Carlson is. But I don't know. You know, 2023 seems to be the year that a lot of the people, so-called conspiracy theorists, are being proved correct.
To our audience, a reminder, Frank Figliuzzi is the author of a book called The FBI Way. He is the host of a podcast called The Bureau. So I've been fixing to get his opinion on the following all week. Frank, I'm going to play this clip for you. This was Tucker Carlson on Fox News Tuesday night. We'll discuss on the other side.
So FBI operatives were organizing the attack on the Capitol on January 6th, according to government documents. And those two are not alone. In all, Revolver News reported that there are, quote, upwards of 20 unindicted co-conspirators in the Oath Keeper indictments, all playing various roles in the conspiracy, who have not been charged for virtually the exact same activities, and in some cases, much, much more severe activities, as those named alongside them in the indictments. Huh? So it turns out that this white supremacist insurrection was, again, by the government's own admission in these documents, organized at least in part by government agents.
Frank, it's all yours. Over to you.
Well, Tucker can to pick one or two of two choices. He can plead total ignorance of what unindicted co-conspirator means, or he can admit that he's trying to deceive the public. It's one or the other, maybe both. That's not what unindicted co-conspirator means. And in fact, if there were FBI operatives inside the crowd and they would never be charged as unindicted co-conspirators, this makes absolutely no sense. But I'll tell you what does make sense, Brian. We've learned just today through MSNBC and NBC News reporting that at least one of the defendants in the January 6th case has been asked by FBI agents, do you know anyone in Congress? And so now when you put those two things together, there's some interest in the GOP and Congress spreading this disinformation that it was the FBI who did all of this on January 6th. Why? Because just maybe, the FBI is looking at them.
Now, when it comes to being put on the FBI's watch list, I mean, all you apparently have to be is a parent that questions certain things your school is teaching your children, kindergarten through high school. And if you disagree with the curriculum of the school, that might actually be harmful for the thought process of young children as they grow up into young adulthood, entering into adulthood, you might just get put on the terrorist watch list by the FBI. Seek the truth daily. The truth will find you seeking. Till my next video, may the grace of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, be with you always.